his passion wasn't the policy. His passion was the care of patients. He knew it could be done better, and this drove him to come to the office even when he really was feeling otherwise, obviously very much weaker than he'd like to be, but he was still dedicated to come in and make an important, very important contribution.
Born into a distinguished Winnipeg medical family, there was never much doubt that, like his father, 4 uncles, 2 siblings, and 6 cousins, Charles Hollenberg was going to be a doctor.
This man was first in every academic level of his career. He was the top of his class in high school. He was the gold medalist in medicine at the University of Manitoba. He was a Markle Scholar in Medical Sciences, which was a very competitive North American honor. He was a full professor at McGill University at age 37. He was chairman of the Department of Medicine at the University of Toronto and physician-in-chief at the Toronto General Hospital at age 39. This was a man who just achieved in the first part of his lifetime what many would have considered towering achievements for their entire lifetime.
His research on lipid metabolism has had far-reaching effects in endocrinology, but it was as a medical administrator, first at McGill and then at the University of Toronto, that he really came into his own.
I met Charles when I was an undergraduate, and when we were quite involved, he said to me, "What do you plan to do when you graduate from college?" And most of my friends were doing absolutely nothing except graduating. And he said if I was going to marry him, I better go to graduate school because everybody should know how to do something.
There is a directness in his manner. There is a sense of purpose that is apparent to everybody, and he is straight as a die. There is no waffling on the issues. There is no politics. It's achieving the goal, having everybody understand it. And this is why he was so successful in building the premier department of medicine in Canada, pulling together people, giving them a common sense of direction, and supporting them where they needed support in order to achieve it. He was really a remarkable chair of medicine in Toronto.
He's a perfectionist. He expects the best of everyone. He's very honorable, and he's extremely rational. It doesn't make him easy to live with. He has very high expectations for himself, and he expects everybody to do the best that they can possibly do.
I work hard. I persevere. I do see things, and see insights, and see approaches that not everyone sees. That I do know. And often when I take on a challenge or a job, at the end of it, I'm usually in a position of driving the process in a way that very few other people would have driven it. So I think that's helped my career. I guess I get a tremendous amount of enjoyment out of what I do, out of my work and out of my clinical responsibilities and my teaching. When you get that kind of enjoyment, you will succeed much, much more often than not.
On his retirement from the University of Toronto, he took on a new challenge, the reshaping of the Ontario Cancer Treatment and Research Foundation into the internationally recognized Cancer Care Ontario. As always, he succeeded brilliantly.
A few years ago, I wrote a paper on what I call the Penfield Lecture, and I talked about people who made a difference in the medical academic scene, and Charlie's one of those people. Most of us, would be fairly proud of making one major transformative thing. Charlie's done it 3 times, and he's done it impressively 3 times.
His early life in becoming a leader at McGill, becoming the premier developer of departments of medicine in Canada through his work at the University of Toronto, his work in diabetes and in his love affair with the fat cell, that research really changed important areas of endocrinology, metabolism, and in particular the management of diabetes. The work he did in the Banting and Best Department of Medical Research, his leadership in developing the program in diabetes care, and then most recently his work in developing a whole new standard and scope of care for for cancer patients in Ontario. All these contribute individually. Any one of them would have been reason to be considered in the Hall of Fame. The combination of them makes him an absolutely superlative candidate for the Hall of Fame.
I am passionate about one thing. You will succeed in medicine if you get great enjoyment out of what you're doing. And there's no point, and we see it too often today, in trying to achieve success in medicine while at the same time being dissatisfied with one's financial affairs or with the way the government's running things, etc. If you're going to succeed in medicine, you've got to enjoy the work that you're doing. You've got to enjoy your teaching. You've got to enjoy looking after patients. You've got to enjoy bringing along very good young students, and not worry terribly much whether or not all these other factors that impinge upon the practice of medicine these days, whether or not these factors affect your career. Enjoy your work, take great pleasure in it, and you'll succeed.